Hey everybody, welcome back one final time. All roads lead here. It is the finals of Pokemon Perfect's ADV Championship 2021. You guys have seen both of these players and everybody that they've beaten along the way up to this point. Siglut and Jhonx, respectively. Jhonx on the bottom, Siglut on the top. Like I said, you've seen 2 matches each from both these guys before here. They've actually had to beat 3 opponents each to get here, and that's in addition to qualifying in the first place. So this is our once-a-year, end-of-the-year tour. They both come a long way to get this far, but alas, the trophy only belongs to one player. And I can't wait to find out who that is, so let's get right on into it. It's a best of 3. Jhonx is on the bottom, Siglut's on the top. We have a Mence and a Coon, respectively. Becomes a Bliss, and we have an immediate substitute. Calm Mind, so gonna stay in behind the sub. Ooh, and it's Calm Mind Bliss. She's pretty uncommon these days. And that's going to be enough to make Siglut not want to stay in. T-Bolt there does almost nothing to Celebi, but it does get a para, which of course makes the Bliss faster. This enables this Ice Beam, and thank goodness for Siglut that Leech Seed connects there. Could have been full para, could have been a miss, whatever, and then that wouldn't have happened, and who knows from there. Maybe this Blissey goes bananas. But with the Leech Seed and a little bit of switching, she does get out of the way for now. My Milotic comes in, very good answer to Swampert. Now Zapdos comes in, which is good answer to my Milotic, but not if it gets immediately Ice Beam crit for 95%. Good thing there's no Sand in play, or that Zapdos would have been dead already. Toxic on a whiff on Bliss the first time, but then connect the second time. But Ice Beam is going to be the end of the day for Zapdos. Here's the Dougie follow-up. Going for beat up, even though there is a Pokemon down. The Zapdos still going to do quite a bit, as you can see. And Ice Beam is going to knock him out. Blissey very low and poison, but still alive. Out of the way she goes. And here's Lax. Calm Mind Psychic. And that's just going to be met with a curse, potentially threatening Earthquake here. Psychic again. And it is an Earthquake for heavy damage, 85%. Ice Punch coming down. And EQ, the freeze that he was looking for, doesn't cooperate. Earthquake obviously going to be enough to get the kill. We've got ourselves a pretty big lead for Jhonx at this point. Man, this is a one-sided affair. He hasn't even revealed 2 pokes, and that's all Siglut's got left. Got ourselves a 6-2. We try to go to last poke Coon already and just get it done from there? Is that the only way out for Siglut at this point? It very well might be. I think he was really banking on killing that Blissey, but he came up short, and now that she's healthy again, Siglut's just going to have to get lucky, frankly. Beating Calm Mind Bliss with T-Bolt is going to be a tall order here. I mean, if he has Ice Beam, he could freeze him. He can crit him with Surf. I mean, it's winnable for Siglut, but make no mistake, Blissey with the advantage here, without a doubt. Though if it grinds on long enough, pressure actually could be a consideration here. It really helps that there's no sand. That gives the Coon more of a boost than it gives the Blissey, but there's a crit. Siglut not conceding, but man, what a one-sided affair. There's another crit, but I mean, does it really matter at this point? I would pretty comfortably say no, right? Yeah, I mean, Siglut not conceding. We're going through the motions here, but yeah, this game, a one-sided affair. Jhonx asserting his dominance and giving the beatdown to Siglut. Jhonx is now 1 game away, Game 2 or a potential Game 3, from being Pokemon Perfect's 2021 ADV champion. Siglut, obviously very capable, will be forced to rattle off 2 wins in a row if he wants that title for himself. So let's go. Here's Game 2. Let's go ahead and switch those positions for continuity with Jhonx on the bottom and Siglut on the top again. Mence and Tar respectively becomes Mence and Skarm. Brick Break, that's not choice band damage if you're only doing a third with a crit, so we're looking at, I think, a mixed Mence, which is also going to be indicated by the Fire Blast and the fact that the Mence has leftovers, so I think it's pretty clear at this point. And now Starmie comes in thinking another Fire Blast will come, which it does. Starmie generally, as long as it has recover, is a pretty reasonable check to mixed ments. But he doubles back to Skarm, and that turns out to be a good play for Siglut. He gets it in on Lax, and there should be a free spike unless he wants to do a Magneton Scout, which he does not. And there is a layer of spikes, and the punishment for that is a 37% focus punch, which isn't the end of the world. Now Mence comes in, and it's going to be a whiffed protect. Now granted, he does get lefties, and he can protect again for more lefties if he so chooses, which of course he will do. And that's going to waste another Fire Blast PP. I don't like the Fire Blast there for Jhonx. That PP is precious, and the protect was obvious, so I don't like that decision. But Siglut does stay in and eat another one. That's going to be the end of his Skarm. He manages to get down one layer. Advantage for Jhonx, who's already up a game. That's going to be costly, though. Siglut's going to over-predict Hydro Pump, maybe thinking the Lax is going to come in. Not only is that the wrong play, but he's also going to miss. And now he Ice Beams thinking the Mence will stay in, which of course it doesn't. That is poor for Siglut, and Jhonx, who's already ahead, has a nice sequence there. Siglut gets a little bit of momentum back as Body Slam swings into thin air on the Gengar. And now Camera up. Jhonx loves that Mon and loves this team. Switches it in. Will-O-Wisp, no problem. He's immune. Now Swampert comes in. Fire Blast, not great, but I believe this particular Camerupt has HP Grass, something Siglut needs to be aware of here. Doubles back to Kuhn, though. Probably thinking he would be outsped and killed by the Swampert, which is fair. Surf. And Toxic, sure. That's devastating if it's a non-rest Kuhn. But by the way this has been played, it is probably a rest Kuhn. And indeed, no more games, no Calm Mind, none of that. Immediate rest for Jhonx, which does seem potentially premature, but it is what it is. Sleep Talk, Calm Mind, sure. Celebi at very least will get a Leech Seed down here. Could also start boosting up with him and threaten an HP Grass or a Leech Seed. And it's going to be the latter. He's going to boost up with him, and there's Calm Mind. Salamence is faster here. Oh, we have a speed tie. That's awkward. They might both be 299, which makes the... Oh, it's Roar. That's why. Okay. Because, yeah, the Sand said that the Mence was faster, but he goes for Roar here. That still could be a Super Celebi, though, based on the way that was played. So they could be both 299. Usually, Super Celebi goes plus speed nature, but it could be modest. We're going to keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, protected Body Slam happen here. There's Surf and Body Slam now. No Paris from the Slams. Protect, why not? And Body Slam again, why not? Pert at 41, Lax at 43, very comparable. T-Tar comes in hoping for, a Shadow Ball or a Self-Destruct. Ends up being Shadow Ball, so good switch for Siglut. However, no justice in this world. Misses the Rock Slide, which probably would have killed the Lax there. And that's going to enable big damage on the T-Tar. 68% by way of Self-Destruct. Puts it in range of the Aerodactyl. One hidden power later, there is no T-Tar. And we've got ourselves a 4-4 with one unrevealed, air quotes, in the back for Jhonx. But if Siglut has been paying any attention at all, I'm sure he knows what that last poke is. And there is the Kuhn coming in. This team seems tremendously off-star weak for Jhonx. It's the Lax and the Lax only that deals with it, and it's not a Lax that's built to last. It comes in, takes spikes damage, whatever chip damage. It's not a rest Lax, it's a self-destruct variant. Mid to late game off-star in general against this team that Jhonx loves so much. Really seems like a tough Mon for him. That seems like one of the flaws of the team that Jhonx loves so much, in that it's tremendously weak to off-star. There's just no switch into it after the Lax goes down. Even then, if there's a spike or two down, if it comes in on a Hydro Pump, even then the Lax is not that exciting of a switch. But we can address that later when the Starmie finds its way in again. In the meantime, we have a full health Arrow being torrent surfed away by a Swampert, which is obviously not what he's trying to do. And there is a Gilligros trying to set up and get this game done for Jhonx. Earthquake takes out Swampert. Yeah, there's a shot. Celebi at 80. He would need double mash here, possibly a raise. And, well, he gets mash and a raise. He survives the hidden power. I believe all he has to do is not miss Wah, wah, wah. Well, it stinks to lose the game and potentially the championship that way, obviously. And there's a critical hit psychic there, but that one didn't matter as much. But yeah, I mean, Meteor Mash, it's not 100% accurate. That means it's going to miss sometimes. That's how it goes. Same way that ABR preaches to use Flamethrower over Fire Blast for this exact reason. Games like this are a case in point. The mash there needed to connect. If it did connect, then as long as it also connects on Gengar, then I think Jhonx just wins the championship here. But it's going to miss at a bad time. It's going to bail Siglut out. And that's going to enable us to go to a Game 3. So instead of Jhonx winning here and now, he now has to win a whole new game, or it's going to be Siglut making the comeback to be the champion. Let's find out. Third game, winner takes all. Jhonx on the bottom one more time, Siglut on the top one more time. Intimidate potentially relevant on the Zapdos there if he goes for BP. He doesn't. It's a traditional switch to a T-Tower. Finds itself against Bliss. And here is Milo. This team for Jhonx looks remarkably similar to his Game 1 team. Something that I have noticed about Jhonx in general is that his team variety isn't so hot. He likes to reuse a small handful of teams over and over again. For these little side tours, maybe you can get away with that. If you were to try that in SPL or something, you would be counter-teamed and exploited all day until you show that you can diversify yourself. Meta here eats a big self-destruct after getting a Meteor Mash raise, but he survives at 2%, and Jhonx is not ready to give it up. He goes to Bliss on the T-Bolt, which looks pretty safe here. There's a double back to T-Tar. And Ice Beam going to do 26%. T-Tar not gaining leftovers of note. Zapdos in again on Milotic. Good double for Siglut here, dictating the tempo now. Bliss comes in, and Toxic. So a little bit of momentum. Good sequence there for Siglut, taking the tempo back and trying to control the pace of this game when he's already down a poke. Hidden Power Fighting is nice. Catches Bliss by surprise here. Zapdos has to eat a big Ice Beam in exchange, but it's going to be Siglut with the advantage here. Blissy's crippled and low. Out of the way she must go. And Thunderbolt there is again the right play for Siglut. Toxic also would have been good, but heavy damage on a non-lefty's Mence. It's going to go for Rock Slide, which I assume is CB, and he gets a crit. It's been a haxy series here, but Siglut nevertheless does have a proper rock resist in the back. Rachi comes in. I don't like staying in rock sliding again for Jhonx. I think it's pretty obvious that a rock resist is always going to come in there. So I think that was a wasted turn and basically him giving up tempo. But here we are. Siglut switches in the EQ resist now. In this case, an EQ immunity. And Claydol goes for his own EQ and eats a Shadow Ball back, which pending a crit, he will always survive another. So pending a crit or a para full para or boom, Claydol has the advantage. And Lax is going to opt for rest this time, so double blob for Jhonx. Not double blob as in Blissey Chansey, which is also a thing, but it's really bad. But we've got the Bliss Lax, double Fatso team, match made in heaven, the big fat couple. Will that get it done for Jhonx? I don't know, but that explosion is going to effectively trade with the Milotic via the sand. Interesting that Siglut is content trading 1-for-1 when he's behind. But he's not as behind as he looks, because a lot of things on Jhonx's team are really banged up. Nevertheless, Jhonx furthers his lead. Now 5-3. Rock Slide looking for a flinch, doesn't get it. T-Tar now faster and is in good shape pending his own Rock Slide miss. It connects on meta, but it's irrelevant there because he could have followed up and killed it with anything, even had he missed. Now the Mence comes in, gets Intimidate off, so T-Tar is only at boosted speed. It's still faster than the Mence, and that's good enough, so that goes down. All of a sudden, what was a Jhonx lead is a tie. Dragon Dance on a sleeping Lax. Is this your best answer? Rock Slide, pretty heavy. And he's still asleep. I guess he's banking on a Rock Slide miss. That doesn't seem so good. Yeah, and down that goes. And that explains why. The last poke Magneton, not going to get it done here. And Jhonx going to concede. Siglut makes the comeback just like that. Jhonx was in the lead all game until he wasn't. And DD-Tar doing DD-Tar things is going to win the game and the match for Siglut and make him the Pokemon Perfect 2021 ADV champion. Congratulations, Siglut. I invited him to Kalos Invitational 5. I obviously thought that he was good enough to be there. I invited him to play-ins, to be clear. But he said that during that time of the year, during those few months, he just didn't have a lot of time to play and was busy in real life. So unfortunately, he did sit out. I certainly hope that if there is a Kalos Invitational 6, he's still around and accepts my invite next time around, because he's obviously a good player who deserves a shot and could potentially make a big dent. And likewise, he did sign up for SPL, so if I don't end up picking him myself, I strongly recommend looking at Siglut for at very least a sub, honestly probably a starter, if you're one of the other managers who might be looking for a cheap and high upside ADV option. Real nice guy, too. But that's going to be it. Jhonx with a valiant effort through this tour, certainly improving on a year-to-year basis and a player to watch going forward. But today, the story belongs to Siglut. He's going to be the 2-1 winner here and the Pokemon Perfect ADV 2021 champion. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this tour. And I have no idea what my next content is going to be now that this is over, but the SPL auction is just over a week away. Very excited for that. 3 weeks are way too long for damn signups, but it's coming soon. I can't wait to do that. Wish me luck. I will see you guys in the next video.